Hey guys, and what's up? This is my Fallout New Vegas review. So in the past video, I realized that I had quite a bit of cutoff here with my head, so I hope I fix it with this video. Anyway, this is my Fallout New Vegas review, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting with I have a pros and cons list here, and I'll be going through the points and kind of reading my notes here. And it's not like I'm going to only talk about the pros in the first section and then switch over to the cons. But I'm going to kind of go through the pros I listed and the cons, so I can kind of have a thing to get me talking about the game and keep it kind of structured a little bit. At the end, obviously, I'm going to give a score of the game, but the score is not, for me, scores feel like they feel kind of bland, considering the experience I've just went through. I've just played a game, and I went through the whole experience of playing the game. I absorbed all the creativeness and all the time that went into this game, and to just give it a score, which is a numeral, which is a number of 1 to 10, it seems very bland. And this is what the reason why I say this is just the whole emotional experience can't be captivated by one number. It's so many different factors that go into it. So anyway, my point is that I'm going to give this game a score simply because I think it's part of a review to give a game a score. It's part of the whole review to give a game a score, but I wish there was a better way for me to sum up in one sentence. This is basically what the game experience was for me. But a score is, because a review needs a conclusion, a review needs a conclusive end to sum up all the thoughts I have summarized in the review. Basically, don't pay too much attention to my score. If you watch the whole review, you'll probably get the gist of my opinion about the game. But the score is, don't take it too seriously, because it's very hard for me to give scores, and I never have the feeling that they're the correct score. So I never can give a right score. In my opinion, I'm just going to give it a score. I'm just going to throw one out there, and that's going to be what the game has. Anyway, I'll start with the pros. And first of all, I've written down here that the game Fallout New Vegas was quite a long game. And not long in a bad way, like you have to grind and grind. Long in a way that made me continuously craving to play it, and continuously wanting to sit down and see what quest am I going to do now, what person I'm going to kill now, what am I going to have to do now to upgrade my character or make my character better. What quest is going to happen now? What quest am I going to embark on now that will change the experience, that will change the way the way I think of my character. Now, I really do hope that the gaming industry will find a way to change the linearity that quests, the questing system. Like, you get a quest, you do the quest objectives, and eventually you finish the quest, however you do it. That adds a lot of breaking away from the previous way of doing things, which was basically a linear storyline. It adds different ways you can do things, but also I think it's good to move on from that, and hopefully we can find a more dynamic way to give the players objectives and ways to complete things. But anyway, that's not a negative point for Fallout New Vegas. All games have it right now. There's no game that really breaks away from that. There might not be a quest log, but it's still there. A quest you do and you finish. And of course it has to be delivered in a good way, so I got a little bit off topic there. But anyway, the game had lots of good quests, some not as good. Some were like bimbo jobs where you have to go from point A to point B to point C to point D to point gamma. So basically you have to run and be an errand boy, or you have to run and you have to do this, you have to find this fucker, this fucker, this fucker. It basically just didn't seem like a lot of... There were some quests like that, but most quests were genuine quests with a versatile storyline and plot. So that's the thing they kind of improved from Fallout 3, which had a lot of linear quests, but so they definitely improved that. There was a lot of different quests and a lot of variety in the quests, so that's a pro. The atmosphere of the game was, I think the atmosphere of the world was very good. For me, I got the feeling often like when I was wandering the wasteland and I met a traveler or something, and basically I was alone with the traveler, and it was like a different world altogether. I was alone with that person in a whole different world, and I was pretty much God of that world, because the game gave you the tools to basically be the god of your own world. Like when you go out to the wasteland and you meet a band of bandits, or you meet a band of people, and you can decide what will be their fate, and you can do whatever the fuck you want to those people. Basically, you can kill them, you can reward them, you can just ignore them, whatever. So that's basically the game. It gave me a sense of being alone out in the wilderness and the brave new world, basically, and it was a very good feeling for me. It was a very good atmosphere the game got. So I want to touch on a con as well. The graphical improvement in this game, it wasn't very... the graphical improvement from Fallout 3 wasn't too vast in my opinion, so there were quite a few like lackluster textures, lackluster models and stuff that made the game on many points feel bland. But then again, all in all, the whole atmosphere of the world and the whole effect on the world on me was quite positive. So yeah. Okay. Already said that. And also a plus for the game, and it basically, this might be a little ironic, but the game improved on the number of crashes and technical difficulties I had with the game. Now if you watch the game, I was constantly complaining about the game froze and then it kept playing. And I don't think this was actually the game's fault. I think it was me recording with Fraps, and Fraps having some problem with the game. So I'm not going to credit it to the game. But if you watch my Fallout 3 videos, which were a while back, you saw that the game crashed fucking often. And at some point it got so annoying that I stopped playing the game. I simply stopped playing it, and that was a big fuck up of Bethesda. It was not just me having this problem, it was many people having the problem. And people were just like, yeah, you have to, people on PC, they have to deal with it. Well, that Fallout New Vegas fixed this issue, and that I didn't have to worry about that, and that really, like, it was actually, for once, the tables were turned. Like, I was looking at Darkside Phil's impressions of the game, and he said it was a very good game, but of course, it had many bugs and technical difficulties. For me, there were basically none. So I basically had very little bugs, very little content bugs, very little graphical bugs, very little audio bugs, very little, all those bugs. I had very little bugs. And I only had a few times where the game literally would stop working and I would have to force myself out of the game. But then again, it's a great improvement from Fallout 3. And also, I think for such a diverse game, such a huge game, which at some points didn't feel complete, like with such a huge game, it's hard, it feels like often like a sandbox game, and that the game, it doesn't always feel complete and polished and refined. That's kind of how the Fallout series has been for me. Not always a completed experience, not always completely developed by the developers. That's okay, but the feeling got diminished in Fallout New Vegas, where there were a lot less problems for me altogether. So that's a plus. Also, what I liked about this game is how the different factions were like in Fallout 3. I'm sorry for comparing this too much to Fallout 3, but basically that's what this is. This is not a sequel, but it's the next game in the series. So basically, yeah, call it whatever the fuck you want, Bethesda. But it's the sequel to Fallout New Vegas. For me, it's a sequel because it's the next game in the series. It has to improve on certain fronts. For me, sequels should be an improvement on certain fronts, and adding diverseness to the gameplay and the story and all those things. And sequels should add that kind of thing. And what I thought about Fallout New Vegas was it added, the factions were a lot more fleshed out in Fallout New Vegas. Like, you can really see this faction was fighting this faction, and you can actually see them, like, when you're walking through the wasteland. Holy shit, this is the Legion and the NCR fighting. But when you put on a Legion costume, that at one point I walked into an NCR area with a Legion costume on, and I was like, why the fuck are these people shooting me? Ah, now I get it. I have a Legion uniform on, and that's why they're shooting me. Because I'm a Legion, they think I'm a Legion dude. So basically, factions were a lot better than in Fallout 3. You could really, there's a lot of factions that were really very different, and yeah, they basically greatly improved on the factions in this game, since they're a big part of the Fallout series, because it's a very open world game where you can kind of shape the world with your own hands. So, the feeling that the game gave you when, for example, you were out alone in the wasteland with people, or when you held the fate of people. Power for people is it can be a very bad thing. It can be a thing that consumes people, because the feeling of controlling. And I recently played Assassin's Creed. The one guy that's like, the feeling of holding people's fate in your hands is literally so consuming. It consumes your soul, and it makes you want to control people and stuff. It's a feeling that everyone, I think, has at some point or another. And Fallout New Vegas definitely brings this feeling out into a controlled environment where you can feel that feeling without harming anyone in real life. Yeah, so you feel that power, the power over whoever it is, and it's a very satisfying feeling. I think Fallout New Vegas does a good job of bringing that feeling out and giving you the feeling that you're in control and you're in power. So guys, I think I'm going to make a little cut here, and I'm going to continue on with the cons then. So, thanks for watching this part, and please watch the second part. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the second part. I repeated myself there, but I'll see you guys then.